Yeah, I was going to say that as well. I think that having a clear summary of the piece very early on. I turn the page after I see your name and I see the summary of this piece, what I'm about to read. I think that's also very important. I agree with binding because they get stacked in stacks in an office waiting to be read. I also think that it's very important that you have or have had someone else read this play out loud with you. Because sometimes we'll get submissions and not only are there typos, and I think that's one thing, but there are things that just don't make sense, and sometimes that can be off-putting very early on, and I might not want to give the rest of the play a chance. We were talking earlier, and they were saying like first 20 pages, last 20 pages sometimes, you know, and so you really have to make sure that you capture the attention of your reader very early on. But having the piece read out loud, I think, helps and will kill a lot of demons.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell us again, so how many plays do you get a year, and do you read them all, or at least read part of them, and do you have a team, or do you do it by yourself?
Well, I think, with Jubilee's history, they had an ongoing submission process. So in my office, when I became artistic director, there was already a stack of plays that were about 70 plays, all alphabetized. Somebody had gone through the work to do that. And so trying to go through all of that is a little bit more difficult. Over the past year, we received 40. I did read all 40 of the pieces. And I always try to give what I think is constructive feedback. I'll read it, and we have a reader who's also been with the theater for a great deal of time. She'll come in and read and make notes as well, and we try to give some constructive feedback. So just in case the playwright is interested, they might not care, about our thoughts or ideas about the play. But we try to give some type of constructive feedback, even only a line or two.
And it can be even if it's a play. I mean, Jubilee Theaters, for work that they are all about African American experience. So even if it doesn't fit the mission at all,
I did this season because I thought it was important to at least know what voices are out there. I don't know that I'll always do that. This was me getting to know this community and seeing what writing talent was available, or at least that had submitted. So yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll read the piece thinking maybe it doesn't work for me, but it could be a suggestion for someone else. I wouldn't blindly send out your play to just blanket and say, okay, everyone just send out my play to everybody in Dallas-Fort Worth to see who bites, because I think it's a waste of your time and money, your time and money. But if it's within my mission, or you know me, or you've read something I've written, or you've seen me talk about something, and you think I might be interested in it, then I wouldn't mind. But that's me, and I know it's not the answer across the board.
We get last year we got over 400 plays, full-length plays. We go by committee because it's obviously a monster job and there's only 2 artistic directors. We have a committee of company members who have volunteered to read the plays, and sometimes they take them home. But a lot of times we'll have reading parties where we sit with a big box and go through them. We are probably first 20, 25, and if the play is not getting you at that point, then going to the last 20, 25. That's kind of how we go. Now, I'll tell you, the majority of the plays are fully read because a lot of people are good at starting plays but not finishing. As you guys probably are like, I know, it's terrible, it's so hard to finish play. But that's kind of how it works there. And so the committee, we have a ranking system basically from 0 to 5, 5 being the top, ready to go, fits mission statement. And then Chris and I take away the top ranks, usually mostly 4s and 5s, and a couple of ones where people have said, I'm not sure on this, but you read it. And that usually ends up being a pile of anywhere from 40 to 80 plays that 2 of us read. And then we boil it down, and he and I sit down and discuss what we think should be the 6. And sometimes it can come down to, we have every play in this pile is about Iraq, so what else is there? Here's our war category, here's this. Just because, what's great about, I think, about reading works is that you kind of find out what the collective unconsciousness of the world is, what's on everybody's minds at this given time. And like one year it was all beasts. Everybody all sorts of stuff. But, so that's how it works at Kitchen Dog.
We do, for the New Works Festival, we do plays by committee. And very much the same way, we received about 200 last year. Very much the same way with the committee reading. Everything at the end comes through me, but I don't, I do my fair share of the committee, but at the end I can't read 200 plays. And then throughout the year for the other readings and other workshops, some are either taken from the festivals themselves and expanded, or they're plays that come along the way. Sometimes we simply have had a slot where we said, someone has, called us up and say, hey, I'm looking to direct, I need I want a project, and we're looking, I know that we have a show coming up, in a couple months, and we're going to want to look for a play. I show them the plays that we did for the workshops, but then they also have the right to kind of go through and see what connects, because sometimes I think, if I want to work with somebody as a director, if I can find something that they connect with, and they can sell it to me, and I like that play, then I want them to do that rather than assign a play that they connect with. And because we're doing new works all the time, and we're constantly getting in things, add a little bit more freedom, I think, to do that. Kind of like us getting directors for the meetings. It's a little bit more free because I don't know where the play's going to end up sometimes. And that's something else that you and I were talking about earlier, is discovering how long it takes to do a new work is very different.
Right, and that's going to be my next question. So let's talk a little bit about development, because all of you guys do readings as well, and, around the country, people have talked about, getting into this process of the state of reading hell, where things just keep getting read over and over again at various theaters, and nothing is being workshopped or getting a production. And here I'm finding, I think there are a lot of, it goes from reading to full production, and it probably has a lot to do with, time and economics and so forth. But talk about how you do approach developing a play, and how you would ideally like to approach developing a play.
Well, with the play that won our Playwrights Festival, it's a very interesting piece about, what do you call it, they brush the ice so the thing can slide. Curling. About this African-American curling team. The play's called Sweep and Slide. It's really funny, but it definitely needed a whole lot of work and needs a whole lot of development. So, and what I'm enjoying about the process, and we promised that we would see this playwright through to the end of this piece, really fleshing the play out and really making sure that it had a strong arc and doing all the things you're supposed to do when you develop a piece. And it's something that I love to do, and that's how I started my career out at the Kennedy Center, workshopping new plays. And it's what I've done professionally before I became an artistic director. And I thought here's an opportunity to do this with this project, and having the playwright work with you side by side over a long period of time, for me seems to be beneficial. It's not a rush job. We're not doing it to say we did it. It's really investing in it draft to draft. Even with Black Spurs, our new musical, the playwright will write a draft of it, and then I'll bleed all over it and add my thoughts to it, and she'll go back and say, okay, I saw that, I disagree with that, and then she'll come back and with a new draft, and then we'll see. I like that process much more. It's much more exciting because I feel very attached to the piece, and I'm more encouraged to give it life because I feel very much a part of it.
I think at Kitchen Dog, as far as the stage readings are concerned, there's anywhere from 3 to 5 days or evenings of rehearsal. Hopefully we can get the writer in to where they can work on the piece with the actors and the director, and some development will come out of that week with the stage reading process. As far as going into a main stage world premiere, there's a couple of different ways Kitchen Dog approaches it. For example, we just produced one of our company members plays Ruth by Vicki Caroline Sheetwood. And it was a stage reading before. It actually had multiple developmental workshops with our company. And the final one being a few days rehearsal with the actual cast, because a lot of company members were in that cast. And because Chris and I, how it all started is Chris and I challenged her to write with the company in mind, and that's kind of how Ruth came about. Because Vicki, I feel like Vicki's a great writer. It's just some of it plays maybe not so much in Kitchen Dog's Mission. So we said we put her on the challenge, and she came back with that play. And we're like, yes. So then we developed it over the course of like 3 or 4 years. And same thing of like other, like I said before, we're part of the National New Play Network. We also do this thing called, one of the flagship programs of the National Play Network is the Continued Life Fund for new plays. Continued Life for American New Plays, there we are. And what that means is 3 theaters, 2 have to be members, 1 can be an outside member, have to agree to produce a world premiere of a play before it ever gets reviewed. So it's basically investing in the play. Everybody believes in the play, signs on to produce it, signs the rights contract, done. And if you give some grant money towards producing that play. But we're all signed on, so it becomes a rolling world premiere. And so the development that happens over the course of that, which is really cool, is we all are invested. We share dramaturgy. A lot of us go to the first. If you're not the lead theater, you'll be involved in hopefully the first week of rehearsal, maybe even going out and seeing that production. And then, changes happen. Playwright travels with you to your production. Work. Play changes and goes to the next theater.
And the most recent example of this was Collapse.
It's Collapse, yeah. And we were the 3rd in that partnership. So it developed over the course of a year from Aurora Theater in Berkeley to Curious in Denver, who's a member, to us. And things changed, like scenes dropped and came back, and different ideas about casting, and we also share ideas about marketing. So it's a really exciting collaborative. For somebody our size, a lot of times, you can't afford some of the amazing dramaturgy that, let's say, Magic can afford, because they have somebody who's right. So then all of a sudden there's some shared dramaturgy there that just becomes invaluable to an organization.
And when you did your workshops of Ruth in the past few years, I think I remember you invited audiences out to see that, right? Because the audience.
Oh yeah, audience came and saw.
Yeah, you love an audience.
Yeah, they came and saw the stage reading, gave feedback to Vicki. Then we had closed in-house with just company members sitting around the table, maybe not who weren't in the cast. Like I know Chris and I both read in that workshop. And then it came back and we did another one with the cast, with Vicki, and so it just kept evolving from that.
And was there any, design involved in that?
Oh yeah, all of it. Since we knew who the designers were, they were in the room the whole time. And the same thing happened on another company member's piece that we wrote here called End Times, which was in 2007. The designers were integral to that, and they were with us from the beginning, sharing images, talking to Allison about, and that's why I felt both shows were really successful in the integration of design and director's ideas and script, because they were both playwrights, kind of had all of that, had some voice into like the stuff like these moves, and that became influenced in design. So.
I have a question. No.
Oh, sorry.
With our workshop, I did actually. The workshops, our standard workshops, and for the New Play Festival, we do about 3 to 4 rehearsals for those. For the longer extended workshops that we're starting to do now, we're looking at 5 to 7 with those. And we're trying to implement, and it's going to take probably not the first show we do this season, but after that, we're trying to implement where every show we do goes through the same process of longer rehearsals. I think for us, probably looking at more like 5 or 6 weeks. At least sporadically at first to help the playwright if there is any changes and things like that. This summer, I guess it's about a month, 2 months ago, I did a reading of She Creatures by a playwright out of Boston, and she had initially submitted for the New Arts Festival. I really liked the play, but didn't feel like it was even ready for the New Arts Festival. But I did send her, I responded. I don't, 200 plus, I can't respond to everybody, but sometimes I can, and sometimes people will. Lacey Lynch, who's actually the director of our new work, she's much better at responding. She's great. But I did respond to her and just gave her some insight on what was holding me back from choosing it. And she came back, I guess it was like a month later, with all these rewrites, not all of which were my ideas or anything like that, but she had shown a lot of progress, and I really liked, the product, so we mounted it, or we did the stage reading as the first new workshop, and she rewrote the play, I think, 3 times that week, or at least scenes, major portions, and I'm still waiting on some more rewrites. So I think that with the way we're going with all new works, the play and the playwright and the idea is probably going to, tell us the way we're going to go about creating that piece, which is why we don't really, hey, we're small, we're little, we're new, so we don't have the seasons yet, so we're just going to have a show that comes up. Sometimes our lack of money or lack of, age enables us to be a little bit more flexible with trying things out and see where it goes. I do want to mention, though, and I forgot earlier, that I just started working with a group called Texas Dramatists, and they're also tied in with the Fort Foot Society, and they're going to be doing a play competition, and they're going to be doing it in multiple cities. They're going to be doing it in Austin, Houston, here in Dallas, and I think Waco. And then the winner of that, I think, is going to have a stage reading in New York at a theater that they broke out in New York. So I would suggest that we should go to the website, Texas Drama.
This year, and I wrote about this earlier in the year on Peter Jones, but there's really been a good selection of new plays by local playwrights that are given full productions or area playwrights. This year, with Ruth being a good example, we even collapsed because Allison, she's not from here, but she went to SMU.
And she's a Texan.
She's a Texan, right?
She's from San Antonio.
Right. And looking out, I see a couple of playwrights, James Binhouse and Jonathan Norton, who are going to be having new plays done, and Jonathan had a play done this year as well. And there's a really exciting new funding program that happened this year through TACA, where they had a call for submissions, and they actually are giving quite sizable grants to do projects. So actually, Jonathan is recipient of one of those. Academy of Theater got one of them, and the Dallas Theater Center, I guess, got the other one for Willpower. So what are we doing to help develop local writers? I look at other cities that are known, that have been theater towns for longer. There was one such as Minneapolis, which has a great playwright center there.
Also, I said a lot of corporate support.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the talking thing is obviously a big step in that direction. But what do we need to do as far as, infrastructure and supporting, developing writers that are here, that stay here, but also at a national reach?
That's definitely something that we've had that discussion at Kitchen Dog quite a bit. And I think personally, it's a struggle, it is a struggle for Kitchen Dog. We're, still And, you know, the giving on new works is not consistent, unfortunately. NEA's real, whenever they feel like it, they'll give you the money for the festival. But at Kitchen Dog, what we've been talking about is that we just really feel like there needs to be, because we have Pup Fest, which is a youth playwriting program that Kitchen Dog's been doing with junior players for the last 11 years now. We go into high schools and teach classes and then have a contest, and the top 5 get their student plays read 20 minutes shorts during the Works Festival. It's an amazing program. With free citywide workshops and libraries and things like that. I want to develop an adult program that's akin to that, whether it's, and be able to use some of these black box spaces in the libraries, or use Kitchen Dog space on a Saturday afternoon, and find ways, because I feel like that's the thing that we're missing in Dallas, is that the playwrights don't have a play, like other than writing on my own laptop in my own house with my ideas, like we can say, hey, read your play, but wouldn't it be better if we read it in a group of playwrights? And they're like, man, that art makes no sense, dude. And you can take you know, whatever, like you lost this character, or these all sound the same, you know, sometimes it's good to hear that kind of stuff from each other.
From your peers.
Yeah, and that to me is the component, like if we're gonna riff, like, yeah, we need to have a playwright center, and wouldn't it be nice if we had MacArthur, or, you know, Grant, or whatever, all the, what's it, MacArthur? MacArthur in Minneapolis that gives all the money for the playwright center. But I would like, that's the first step, I think, is finding, you know, whether it's a quarterly, something to where, you know, if I have a playwright coming in, maybe I could see if they would teach a free master class. Or just meet today for 3 hours, and everybody write and read your parts. You know what, I don't know. I'd like to find a way to do that. You know, you get your nose down the grindstone as soon as it's hard. Like you're like, okay, this is one more thing added to all of the other piles of things. But that is a goal. It's been a goal on our list for a long time. I don't know if that's something that would be of interest to you guys, but that's something that we're interested in doing.
That's the big thing that we tried to do with the Monday nights was, you know, it is pay what you can, which means, if you don't want to.
Right. All right.
But it's, the Monday nights is, you know, I'd say that 75% of all the ones we've done have been local playwrights. And the New Works Festival has always been half. But the two we've done, at least half of the playwrights were local. And it, you know, I think that it's because usually I'm able to make some personal connections. You know, I think getting to know, it's easier for me to read a play if I kind of know where it's coming from. Right? So I mean, if you live here, then get to know the people who are going to be reading your plays, or at least make an attempt. I mean, I'm not stalking or anything like that, but just
Don't encourage this.
no. But you know, just getting to know them, because I think it is easier to hear the voice and to want to support. And when we do have, you know, a lot of times, especially with our Monday night readings, someone just said, "Hey, I've got this play. I really want you to read. Can we read it?" And I said, "Yeah, okay, I'll give it a look." And instead of going back to, you know, to the stack of plays that I've read it, like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And so, I think that it's not a bad idea to just, you know, make personal connections and talk about things and promote yourself.
One of the things we incorporated into our festival was the play. We have a playwright in residence now since I've become artistic director. Because I think it's important to give a playwright an opportunity to develop over a greater period of time. And so having Celeste be our playwright in residence and develop this new play for us for next season, I think it's that shortcut that I think a lot of playwrights are looking for. Time to develop and then to see that into a first production. That doesn't have to be perfect. And that's the risk you take as a theater, but I think that's the risk that we should be taking. So I have no expectations on the play being absolutely perfect. Of course, I really want it to be. But my goal was to be one of those theaters that said, hey, here's an opportunity. You got some money to do it. We're going to support you for a whole year through this process. At the the end of this year, we're going to put a director, a cast, and a team together, and we're going to produce this play as a part of our next season. And as a part of her title as Playwright in Residence, she's come back to teach playwriting workshops here. And we have, as a part of our Playwrights Festival, she came to the downtown library in Fort Worth, and we brought playwrights, well, I guess the people that were interested in becoming playwrights, to come in to hear her speak about her process of writing plays, and then not just her process of writing plays, her process of being a playwright, what it takes from after you're finished writing the drafts, how do you get the play developed, or what did you do and to make your play successful, or to get your name out there, to get your plays read. I think that is just as much a part of development as well. And so, in a very small way, I think we're trying to do that. And I have to say, after I sat on a couple of national panels, arts panels this year, theater panels in particular, and one of the major focuses on what you started to see everyone starting to lean towards were organizations that were taking in playwrights or taking in these playwrights for an extended period of time. I think that's helpful.
Are the educational facilities here helpful with that? I mean, you know, UT Austin has a really great writing center.
Yeah, I mean, the miniature, I think that right now in Texas, the Miniature Center is the best as far as just straight out graduate level playwrights. I know SMU has undergraduate and UTA, like there's undergraduate level playwrights, but as far as if you're just talking pure academia, UT is first and foremost in Texas.
And I would say to support that Coyote was a Michigan guy, and the Sarah Salwood that I'm working with right now is in the same project.
Coyote
Yeah.
for the place they did.
Right.
Jonathan?
But I was actually just going to say, you know, I want to talk to you because we're looking at developing a playwright in residence as well, so I'd love to hear about how you've done it.
And the NPN has a playwriting and residency program. It's actually for early career playwrights, usually people straight out of MFA programs or a few years into their, like, you know, they're not going to give this program till like August Wilson or someone. Because he's dead. But you know what I mean, like they're not going to give it to Terrell McCraney or something like that because he's had tons of reviews, he's been in New York. This is for people who are kind of in the early stage of their career. We're trying to make a definition for that. But obviously, we could apply for it and host it through Kitchen Lab. That's another opportunity.
And then we also have, we're working it out right now, but we have an artist in residence because Jonathan here is, John Michael. John Michael here is working with Nuvo as a performance artist writer. And what we've basically done with that is he just has a home where he knows he can go and test out his work and take it to other places. And he knows that his project at least is going to get a night or an audience, so that, you know, it makes it nicer to have a goal to know that, hey, you know, I'm going to have a show and this show's ready. And he sets the date too, with us. He didn't say I'm doing all this thing. But, you know, if he's not ready, then we're not going to push it.
Right. And we're going to sort of wrap it up here in the next 10 minutes or so. But I do want to mention, in addition to these groups, these theaters here who have the programs, some of the other things in town, the other opportunities in town for you to submit plays. Teresa mentioned the TICO playwriting contest. Stage West started a really great program. It was initially just Texas writers, and they opened it up to bordering state writers. And they actually gave a full production this year, like a 6-week production to one of their winners from last year. What else would you know, there are several theaters in town that only do original work, and they tend to stick with the people they know, you know, like Hip Pocket and Sandwich and
Well,
India.
those are written internally too.
It's
You know,
not-
it's not
right.
like somebody from outside is coming in and saying, here's my play about Dracula. Like those are
Exactly.
written internally. I mean, I guess you could try, they might.
But it seems like the opportunities have really expanded locally in the, I would say, in the last, you know, 5 years or so. I mean, Kitchen Dogs.
They've all.
It's always been the other groups.
They've been around for a
And
while.
Jonathan, I mean, there have been several playwright alliance groups in town in the past. I mean, you guys used to meet here at TICO at one point, right? And you were involved in it. Is that still happening, Jonathan?
We talk all the time about getting it back together, but it hasn't for a while. But it ran for about a good year. It's a small group of us, it's like maybe like 4 or 5 people, we meet, on one Saturday a month.
And Vicky was involved with one even before that.
Yeah, Vicky was involved with one with, I know when Octavio was here, and that's how long ago it was. They had, where they met Octavio Solis used to be based in Dallas, and they would meet, every Saturday a month or something like that. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. Maybe it's something that you and I talk about and see if with being the new North Texas Dramatists master.
Love
maybe
it.
There's a way to have, even a quarterly, something we could do it, figure out the Saturdays at the MAC and lock down one of the spaces and figure out what that programming would be. Because
That's great.
I really feel that's the way to start it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that we've got the Wilhelm thing going on, but that's only for 3 years. Hopefully she'll sign up for more. But there needs to be more support.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, it's like, everybody here wants to take a risk on it. We all, obviously, I don't even know how many thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars we've spent on New Works festivals at Kitchen Dog, a lot. So it's our most expensive venture at Kitchen Dog in our season. But again, it's, we all have limited marketing dollars, we all have limited, media, as the bylines get smaller and smaller, it's like press coverage is almost non-existent. So I don't know what it is going to change people's minds about it, but I think that's where to start, is getting this core group fired up. And
Is Taka so far the one big corporate?
Yep.
I mean, do Meta
Other
or
than
anything?
the NDA, no, but it's just not.
Okay, let's open it up. Are there any questions from you guys?
Yeah,
Yes.
to make a submission to you guys, we just send a cover letter, a synopsis, and into the play.
Yeah, I don't even care about, I personally don't even, you don't even send me a cover letter, just send me the play. I want the full-length play. If you've got a nice cover letter, fabulous. If you have an awards thing you want to give me, that's great. I'm not going to look at that usually. I'm going to read the play first, and then I'll go back.
So you want a synopsis.
Yeah, I say also synopsis and the play. And usually what we've done and what we did this past year is even the top 10 plays I share with directors and other artistic directors around the country that I know. I say, okay, these 10 plays made our top 10. Maybe you're interested in them. And we share them around. So having a synopsis right there and then the play, read out loud before.
Right, yeah. So we also get on a lit chat. That's another thing on the NNPN. I'm on a monthly literary chat room with all literary managers around the country, including playwrights and residents, and the same thing. Like, I read this play, somebody's like, I'm looking for a comedy, 3 people, it needs to be 4 to 5 people. It's like, I just read a comedy, it's not right for me. You want it? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Would it be more helpful to have it in electronic format on a disc than hard copy on paper?
I think we're all different.
I don't mind it being PDF or electronic.
I don't want it in paper.
I do want it in paper because I don't want to have to print it.
So maybe both ways?
Yeah, and frankly, like, when we get down to it, I'll ask for an electronic copy because, like, if you get down to that last day, sometimes I'll email and say, hey, would you mind sending this? Or if I have somebody who's on the NNPN that wants it, I'll email the playwright and say, I need an electric copy of it. But for us, printing costs, I need an electronic. Yeah, we have them all in these barrels. It's like a barrel underneath the shelf. It's actually more fun. We always take the Puffest playwrights there and be like, see, how does your play stand out in this?
I think it's much easier to email search for the title of the play or email search that playwright in my email to have it on my iPad or something like that to flip through it than for me, particularly who because I was doing all the reading of mine, because I also have a very small submission than these guys did. To carry them around or to go back to the theater and grab a stack, having them right there to flip through is really easy.
Ours is like a library. Everything's checked in. We have a database. I know who has the play. I know what the ranks are. So, yeah.
Is there a good, central source or clearinghouse online where you could go to and find out not only the local play content that's going on, but nationally?
Isn't Dramatists the best source of Drama Skill?
Yeah, the
Yes.
Drama Skill Resource Directory, which is published by the Drama Skill annually.
And I do suggest, sometimes those guys get behind on deadlines. If you'll look and you'll see Kitchen Dog has a site, or Kitchen Dog has a contest. I know a couple of years they were lax in taking my changes.
Right.
And so people will be like, oh, it's in the 15th of March. And I'm like, yeah, that was like 3 years ago. So
Exactly.
always double check, even though I think that's still the best source, double check with it. Like, awesome,
Right.
they have a contest. I go to their website, oh, they changed the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Because they may or may not have caught,
Every theater has a website, every website has a tab have that says submission policy.
And if it doesn't,
Yeah.
and if it doesn't, email the contact, say, what is your submission policy?
Because every
All the
theater's
time,
gonna want,
I don't mind answering.
right, every theater's gonna want a different format.
Right,
electronic or
something
hard copy,
different.
everything's trying to
We were
get
talking
online.
about this earlier, but even like the Atlantic Theater, which is a big national theater, I think they're the ones who announced they weren't even really taking submissions, they were only soliciting their own submissions.
I just want to say something, one thing, I know we have to wrap up. What's also interesting is pairing up. I know there are several other theaters in the country where you pair yourself up with the director. I know festivals, but not just festivals. There are theaters that, like particularly, New Federal in New York, is the one that's on top of my head. That artistic director says, okay, well, if you have a playwright and a directing team, they're ready, they're willing to put your play in consideration quickly.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, it's so if you find, a director that you like, or not just that, but when I'm receiving of plays, I direct plays around the country outside of Jubilee, and so I see a play, and I'm like, okay, well, this might be interesting to pitch to another theater together as a team and say, let's try this. So that's, never discount that as an opportunity as well.
Yes, sir.
To go out on a slightly different limb, you mentioned earlier that you commissioned a composer. I also compose. How might I solicit that to theaters?
It's usually attached to for me and this policy, well, not a policy, this particular situation was, the writer had already established a relationship with the composer they had worked with before, and I'm much more ready to deal with a situation where they know each other and have a relationship than putting two people together, because I just don't have the resource.
Sure.
For it.
Email.
But I love composers, and I'll get your card. If anyone knows.
I was going to say, another great listing source would be just to join ScriptWorks. Initially, it started in Austin with Austin ScriptWorks, but now they're trying to branch out throughout the state, and they kind of have a division here somewhat now. And they send out an awesome, once you join, you get the weekly newsletter, and there's amazing submission opportunities there.
And we posted them here.
Yeah.
And hopefully when they come back.
And I would also suggest just on the National Movement Network, the NNPN also has a website, nnpn.org. All 26 members, current members, are on there, as well as we just started an associate member level. And you can just go down, and all of those theaters there, they all are committed to producing new work. Click on and go to their tab, and you can see what their deadlines are. So that's for a national-wide thing, but I know all of those guys, pretty much everybody has open submission, not everybody's agent only.
It
So
seems something we'd like to do with your devs, because we're redesigning the site now and adding some new features, and maybe that's something we could add as, as one of our resources.
Cool. And go to the well.
Yeah.
Nina, what was that .org?
it's nnpn.org,
It's the national.
National Movement Network.
John.
I have a question about, I've already established that I could finish Move 47, and what I do is, I don't write my plays down. I do an outline, into Spalding Gray, or Daisy, and I just was wondering what the trend is for that. I know your festival, your upcoming festival, Tina, you're having Tim Johnson, who's a do a cabaret. Is that written down already?
Yep, it is.
Exposure?
Yeah, it was actually, it's interesting, it's spawned out of his thesis project. He did a one-man show, kind of based on all these different things in his life, just life experiences, and it's pretty wild.
That's awesome.
But it is written down, and actually what's crazy is we're developing it this week, so I'll let you know, it's gonna change quite a bit. But yeah, there is a script right now, for sure.
I don't read them unless it's the full script. And I know that a lot of theaters, that's also the policy, because that's what we produce.
But I would assume there are theaters, probably like here in New York, that really deal more with performance art and that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Well, no, and I think it also, too, like, if you have a relationship with the artist, like, I think,
Yeah.
I've known Tim for most of my life. So I think
Yeah.
there's that, like, us talking about an idea and it not being there on the page, I know where we're going with it. So, if you have this relationship here,
You know what I
it,
mean?
I don't know.
I'll tell you, it's really funny. I directed him as a sophomore in high school when I
There you go.
That's weird. I also suggest, like, if you have an idea and you're like, I really think this is something I really would like to do at Kitchen Dog, then you should approach me or approach Chris and say, let's talk about it. The worst thing that's gonna happen is he's gonna say, well, I've got all these other company ideas I gotta pursue first, but at least it's out there, and you never know until it's out there.
Mhm.
I am open to it, but I'm like him, I kind of want to see it, at least in an initial, some kind of structure, like this is what I'm thinking about. But, you know, we've had Spalding Gray, we've had Tim Miller, we've had all those guys after that. Or, I mean, those guys were.
And if you know a playwright, something I'm doing right now, which just made me think of that, and I said, did I just say that? That's not true. No, it is true. Right now, there's just a lack of, like, Christmas musicals. I know it doesn't feel like it, but so many theaters do the same one over and over and over again. So I'm working to commission 3 writers, a grant to commission 3 writers to write Christmas musical comedies so that we can put that out in the universe because we know people are going to write them. We know
Right.
people want to do them, and there's not enough out there for all the theaters that
And we
are
work
out
for
there.
ideas with our company members.
Yeah.
Barbette started as an idea of Bill Langfelder's because he was obsessed with Barbette. And so he and David went and researched down in Austin and went to the gravesite and talked to David. Yeah, because he's very outside in Round Rock. And his trapeze teacher was, you know, studied with Barbette. So that's where all the stories came from, and they developed the play all that. We committed to produce it because it sounded like a wild, crazy idea.
Have you guys heard of this playwriting trio? They're pretty national, the Jones, Wooten, Pope guys. They're the most produced playwright, all at community theaters. It's nothing you guys do. Nothing you guys would do, but all of the community theaters, all over the country, especially in Texas, it's very southern Texas kind of comedy. They're, no, they have, you know, Christmas bells, Hallelujah girls, a lot of plays like that. They're very, very southern, folksy kind of things. And I interviewed them up for the site before, but they are being produced like, I mean, I think, you know, like after, you know, Shakespeare, probably one of the most produced players in the country now.
Can I throw something, I know this is a little bit, if you want to get published, write a play for high school girls, or middle school girls.
I got mine right
Maybe.
here.
Bam! And I'm telling you, that's it, because every time I go to any teacher, anytime I go to any teacher convention for theater, all the teachers want is plays for girls.
Or write a 40-minute play about 20
No, I'm just,
Write a Christmas musical.
well, hey,
This junior high.
I got 28 girls in my class right now.
We keep talking.
You see what I'm saying? I mean, like, there's a huge need for that, so it's outside of what I would never produce as a play. But,
I agree with that. I know I'm adding to the whole commercialism of these ideas, right? It's because it's popular. Truthfully, I really want an engaging play. I really do want to see something different. I really do want, and I think it would be, not that that's what we're saying, or that's your suggestion, I think it would be a shame if we all started to cater to what's popular, because I certainly try not to in my theater and get my hands done quite a bit.
If you're looking to make a lot of money, playwriting, probably not.
with 10 girls, I want an engaging play. I want a good play. I'm just saying, you know, that's an need.
It won't be an engaging play with 10 girls.
Okay. Okay, well, we're gonna wrap this up. I want to thank Teresa Wash and
Thank you.
Tito